If you read, for example, the Gospel of Mark, what happens in the Gospel of Mark is that he is in so much pain, him personally, and he feels abandoned, he feels orphaned. There is no one in the physical realm that can help him. There is no Joseph, there is no Mary. He's way up there on the cross, nailed, he's in pain. And when you're in pain, you go through pain all by yourself. If you're going through a divorce, your mom can call you, she can empathize with you, but ultimately she's busy, man. She's got other mouths to feed, she's got to clean the house, she's got her own stuff to deal with. And after 2-3 hours of spending time with you, she has to leave, and there you are, you know. And you sit in the four corners of your room, and you have to think about whether or not you want a divorce, what things have gone wrong in your marriage, what's wrong with you, what's wrong with your companion. And you have to do all of this by yourself. And grief, by its very nature, is something that has to be dealt with by your own lonesome. There is no one who can accompany you. The Gospel of Matthew, he's only referring to his people, the Jews. He wants to teach his own people. Gospel of Luke, he says, you know what? My own people are no good. He makes his teachings universal. Gospel of John, he doesn't tell a single story. You know, in the Gospel of Mark, they're almost everything that he says in a story form, everything. He only says, I am only twice. In the Gospel of Luke, he says, I am twice. In the Gospel of Matthew, he says, I am 5 times. In the Gospel of John, he says, I am almost 50 times. What happens in the Gospel of John? Not a single story. Why? Why do you not tell stories? If you have told 500 stories in Matthew, in Mark, in Luke, why not tell stories now? Because something happens to you, I think, as a human being as you get older and more mature and more seasoned. You realize that it's really, really difficult to teach people through language. So what you do is you become magical. Okay? Now, what does that mean? You turn water into wine. You multiply fish. You resurrect the dead. You say, I am God. Before Abraham, I was. That's what you do. In the Gospel of Judas, something profoundly interesting happens. It just says, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I need someone to rescue me. I have this spirit inside me that lives in this prison called my flesh. And every day I walk around, what do I see? I see homelessness. I see poverty. I see violence. I see people who are interested but don't have the resources to really become educated. I see all these things on a daily basis. The closest people don't understand me. This is too much. I don't want to do it anymore. And he goes to Judas and says, Judas, please give me to the Romans. Let them crucify me. Because once my flesh dies, my spirit, my soul will go back to God. Okay? That's what all of us do when you try and you realize it's going nowhere.